Well, we had a beautiful rib roast for Christmas dinner. And that was on, when was that? Saturday. And this is the meat that's left over. Well, Bruce does not like fat in anything. So he picked off a lot of the meat, so a lot of the fat off of this, so he wasted a lot. So since he doesn't like that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rest of this meat. I'm going to cut up an onion, mushrooms, and fry the mushrooms and the onion in oil. Take the meat, add it to it, and then add a can of cream of celery soup. Now, normally I would add a can, and what I did, of cream of mushroom to go with the mushrooms, but I don't have any. So when you don't have any in the cupboard, you gotta wing it. So when I go to the store, I'll get cream of mushroom, much better, because I made it the other day with cream of mushroom. And then I'll take the juice from here and put that in there. And I'll probably take some of my, I'll add milk to that. And then I'll add some of this wonderful, better than bouillon, roasted beef base. I'll add a little bit of this to the milk, and I'll combine it all in a nice big pan, make it a nice, it'll be goopy and thick, delicious meat and whatever. And then I'm going to put it on rice. We had this now twice already, and it's absolutely delicious. And it's a great way to use your leftovers. So I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to take the meat here. I'm going to use my sauce, my juice, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to cut the meat up and make sure I have no fat on there at all for Bruce. So I'm going to take my meat out, and here we go. And I'll start cutting this up. Now this fat here, I'm going to take this fat out right now, just like this. Just take the fat out. And throw the fat away. Goodbye. Alrighty. Boom. Boom. Got it done. Alrighty. And now I'll start chopping away at the beef and put it right back in there. Okay, there's just a little fat, but that's okay. Fat is sweet. Delicious sweet. And when it melts, it makes a nice fat gravy. Okay, so here we go. Make sure it's on here. Okay, and cutting it all up. Cut the fat off. Cut the fat off. I don't need that thing. Cut the fat off here. It was a great deal on the roast. I actually got a good one with not a lot of junk through it, fat through it. Usually the prime ribs, the rib roast are so fatty, it's awful. Okay. Let's see if we can just poke it down through there and get that gristle. We don't want the gristle. Don't want the gristle. Don't want the gristle. Oh, nice. See that? That's crows. Beautiful. No gristle. Bruce will find that gristle no matter what. He sniffs it out, I swear. That man can find a piece of fat in anything. Okay. So I usually have to show him meat before I cook it, because I have to prove to him I'm not sabotaging him by giving him some fat. Right, Bruce? You're not going to answer me over there, are you? Okay. Let me take this fat right off of there. Okay. A little more fat here on the corner. See that little fat? We don't want that. Nope. Okay. Now that's all going to go to the friends out in the woods. You can get a bowl for that for the friends. Put it in my pan. Crows are going to love that. Of course, it's $6 a pound. I would have eaten that myself, but not Bruce. So, in fact, I might even eat that piece right to myself. Delicious. Oh, it's so good. I'm going to eat some of this too. I'll take this out. My snick snacks. This is mine later. Okay, that can go aside. Alright. Take the meat. It cooked beautifully, doesn't it? Gorgeous. how I cooked it was 500 degrees for 30 minutes, and I turned it down to 325 for an hour. It was a 4.5 pound roast. Came out beautiful, perfect. Look at that beautiful meat. Absolutely gorgeous. So, shh. Right back in a nice juice. I can even make them smaller. My mother used to make this when we were, oh, let's see, can't eat that. My mother, oh, got to see the line through it, can't eat that either. My mother used to make this when we were kids. I hated it. It was called goulash. Now I love it. It's a great way to use leftovers meat too. And the taste of this meat is just so good. It's funny, it was Canadian. I couldn't believe it. It says Canadian beef. I'm thinking, what? I'll do the rest, then I'll do the mushrooms. Okay, now I cut up the onion and the mushrooms. Okay, I'm gonna just slice my onion. Getting a little old, the onion's getting this, got a little water out of it, so it's not as nice and tight, but that's okay. Use it all. Yeah, this is going to be an old onion. They've been in they're dehydrated, they get a little dried out. But that's okay, they're fine. Don't throw anything away. Gosh, food is too important. Oops, there we go. Nice onions, okay. I washed the mushrooms, got all the boobies off of them. And now just slice the mushrooms. Great mushrooms, a whole big container, huge container of these. BJ's Wholesale Club, really reasonable. I think it was $5 and something for the whole thing. It was like a pound and a half, 2 pounds. Comes out to be like $3.40 a pound for these beautiful mushrooms. Gorgeous. I've been getting a lot of my vegetables at BJ's Wholesale Club. The tomatoes are amazing. And the mushrooms are great. The celery's reasonable. The spinach is the best bargain. Oh my gosh. Organic spinach for like $3.99 a pound, $2.99 a pound. I don't know, but it's cheaper than anywhere else, and it's really good stuff, and it stays good and fresh. All right, isn't that beautiful? All right, so nice. So all this is this. I'm gonna cook this up, like saute it in butter. Then I'll add this and a can of cream of mushroom, but a can of celery because that's all I got. And some of this and milk, probably a whole can of milk. But right now it's too early, it's only noontime, so I'm not gonna cook it right now, so I'll cook it in a little while. Then I'll cook the rice, and we'll have that on rice with some nice fresh broccoli on the side. Oh, absolutely, they're beautiful meat, gorgeous. Oh, this will make enough for, oh gosh, 4 people, and it's just Bruce and I, so it'll be leftovers. He's not thrilled with leftovers, but hey, you got what you got. And these mushroom containers, once all your mushrooms are done, you use all your mushrooms, fantastic plastic containers for starting your seeds for the summer. They're just deep enough for starting your seedlings. Nice, nice. Just to let you know. Okay, I'm gonna cut up some broccoli. I just washed this broccoli. I'm gonna put, because we're gonna have broccoli with our dinner tonight. Just cut up in little pieces of florets, or whatever you want to call them. Broccoli's really a fantastic bargain. It's 99 cents a pound most of the time if you get it on sale. And it's extremely nutritious, reasonably cheap, no waste, and it tastes absolutely delicious. No fancy, not fancy, nothing. Just cutting it big enough pieces so that when I cook it, you want it al dente. You don't want to cook it a lot, very long, because then it loses its nutrients. And not only that, it becomes bitter. When it turns light green, it turns bitter. There's broccoli. Put a little water in it. Just a little water in it, maybe a half a cup to a cup, so I can boil it. I'll put that on the stove. In my pan here, I got in my rice, bag of rice, plain old rice, cheap rice. I'm gonna cut that now because I'm gonna. Okay. This rice, plain rice. I know it's white. I know it's not that great, but hey, you gotta eat some junk once in a while. So I'm gonna put some water in here. How much water? Well, I don't know. I kind of put the water in the pan. That could be too much because we don't want to need that much. Okay. So there's the water, right? Now you can measure it with a ratio of 2 to 1. If you want 3 cups of rice, you use 2 cups of water, 1 cup of rice. So this is approximately it. So I'm just going to pour it in and make a little mountain right there. And that is about a 2 to 1 ratio of rice to water. Okay. There you go. Stick that on the stove. You cover it. You stick it on the stove. You turn it up to high. Turn it on high. Rice. When it comes boiling, you turn it down to low. You stir it once. Put the cover back on, or I turn it right off. In 15 minutes, you'll have rice. Okay. Now I'm going to take my mushrooms and get my mushrooms going. Okay. Okay, so get my fry pan out. Get a cover for the broccoli there. Fry pan right there. Boom. A little bit of oil. I know I need a new fry pan and all the Teflon whatever coating's coming off of it. Now that'll be a project to online, or put it on high, between 8 and high. Put the mushrooms and onions in there. Rice is boiling. Gonna stir it once, just so it doesn't stick on the bottom. Cover it, turn it off, or turn it right down to low. Very low or off. That's it. 10 minutes of rice. Mushrooms and onions. My pan is not sitting flat because it's warped, because it's old. One of these like $20 pans, but hey, it's easy just to go and buy a new one every 2-3 years. See my stainless steel ones down below. These never warp because they're really expensive. These are cheapy. See the rice is coming out. You don't want it to go over on your stove, otherwise it'll make a mess. So you put it aside there for a minute until the heat comes down, and then you put it back. Otherwise, mess. Oh, I love the smell of onions cooking. Oh, so good. Turn that down a tad. You don't want to burn them, you just want to soften them up. And if you don't want to have the splatter, these are amazing, great things. Stick it over here like that, and you got no splatter. Put that back on and let the heat come back up there. And cook that rice. And it comes up again. Up, 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 up. I don't like to clean. It's off. So I'm going to turn the broccoli on now. Turn the broccoli on high. Turn this down because I don't want to burn it. I want to soften them up. Keep the stove clean. Now I'm going to add the cream of mushroom, celery soup in here. Milk. Cup of milk in that. There we go. And probably a half a teaspoon of this gloppy stuff here, this better than bouillon. And squish it down so that melts in there also with the liquid. Oop, rice, don't want them over. Stir this around. Broccoli's coming up. Turn it so it cooks a little more. Wipe down your mess. Add the beef and the leftover juice. Let it come up to a boil. Cook it for a little bit. Broccoli's nice and bright green. You turn it off. Turn it off. Take it off the heat. Drain the water off of it. Otherwise, if you don't drain the water, it'll keep cooking. Nice and al dente right there. This is bubbling. This is all ready to eat. Just waiting for the rice, and it's coming up. Okay, the rice is cooked, all the water is absorbed, and if you want to taste it, you just take a little bit out of here and make sure it's soft, and it's perfect. Right, there it is. So, we've got our broccoli, we've got our rice. So, boom, boom, and boom. My plate. Broccoli is so good for you. And with that, broccoli, chunk of butter on it, And there's dinner. That's it.